Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for episode 15 of Unsung Heroes of the Cloud. And today we have a very exciting guest for you with LaBrina, who's joining us to talk about PlayFab. But before we jump into the tech, and Mike is already excited to jump into
I want to
things,
play games. I want to play games. I want to play games.
LaBrina, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good seeing you again. It's been a long time already.
Yeah, it's been a long time. You've been busy, I've been busy, but I'm glad we got a chance to finally connect. So
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks for joining us. And LaBrina, quick question for you, because before we jump into tech, Mike and I like to get to know the person behind the tech. And I was wondering, is there anything fun you would want to share with our audience?
yeah, so one thing that I am super excited that I just restarted again is I have a podcast. It's called Disrupting the Cloud. It's with Disrupting the Cloud. And you can and it's with a colleague of mine that works at Microsoft as well, Brandon Martinez. And so every other week we get together and talk about topics regarding cloud, how newcomers can get into cloud. We want to feature sort of different voices that are kind of making cloud happen. So, we just had our last episode just got released where we were talking about learning to learn, which actually is a topic kind of near and dear to my heart because we know in tech literally every single day we're learning something new. And so how do you sort of figure out that in and of itself is kind of a skill set, is how do you take new information, digest it, kind of, and then also, and Mike knows this too, and then now we have to, in 2 days, have to speak to a customer about it. So how do you kind of make all that happen? So so I'm super excited about the podcast. It's been really fun to do, and we plan to do more. Hopefully in the upcoming months, we're going to start doing some live streaming as well. Brandon's probably, if he's listening, like cringing that I said that, but yeah.
So now you have one less partner in crime because you just chased them away.
I just lost my co-host. No.
And you mentioned teaching there, LaBrina. Do you have a special passion for teaching? Is there anything else you do related to that?
Yeah, so I am super passionate about STEM and making sure that we have, good representation for, the generations that come, behind us, and that, we continue to instill technology and STEM and make it exciting for them so they, can take our jobs one day. And I want to see more people that look like me. I want to see more students, get involved in STEM. So I actually volunteer with a number of organizations right now, like Black Girls Code and Digi Girls and Girls Who Code. It's changed a little bit, the format, obviously, because of the pandemic, but it's still something I'm super excited about. But the other thing that I just started doing this year that I'm super excited about is I actually work in Teals. And if you're not familiar with Teals, Teals is an organization that pairs industry people with classroom teachers to teach computer science in the classroom. So this year, I got paired with an awesome teacher in school, Halifax County, whoop, whoop, in South Boston, Virginia. So rural Virginia, but it's an awesome class. And I'm paired with this teacher, and sort of we're teaching her. She has tons of classroom teaching experience, but not necessarily with computer science. So we're actually sort of teaching her, train the trainer on computer science. So I'm actually teaching Python this year. which is super exciting for me because it's not my first language. It's probably like my third language, but
Hmm.
it's been really fun to teach the students and to kind of see how they get excited about tech. And one of the things that I would encourage everyone, gaming always helps. So, so like we have these exercises every day, and we were sort of learning variables and for loops and other things like that. But we actually, at the end of kind of a unit, we usually do kind of a longer thing, a longer exercise, and it's usually surrounding a game. So a couple weeks ago, we did a game. We did kind of some card games, like war
Hmm.
games. And this week, we're actually doing Oregon Trail. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game, but it was like if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, it's probably a game that you played. It's like it was a text based game and everyone loved it. So they're actually building, they're going on the Oregon Trail using Python.
Oh, cool.
It's super exciting to see the creativity that some of the students are bringing to it because like so we kind of broke up for this time we kind of broke up into groups, and each group we're actually being a development team, so each group is tasked with doing kind of feature of the game. And so one of the students is responsible for like during the Oregon Trail, kind of the one of the things is that you get sick, and it randomly happens.
Yeah.
And it actually was just supposed to be kind of a random, like one random day during the month you get sick. Well, they kind of took it to the next level, and using arrays, they actually randomly chose a sickness. So you could get dysentery or black plague
Oh,
or
fun.
eaten by someone. So, it's funny to see that. But the good news is that they learn to use arrays, and they learn to use the random function. So, yeah, super excited about that, and
Gami-
it's a lot
it
of fun.
shows gamification helps, right?
Yeah,
Even for the
yeah,
even for,
exactly,
for the worst diseases that you can imagine, Black Plague. Oh, great. I mean,
exactly.
hopefully that game never goes live. I mean, we
I
tried
know.
something. We
I know.
tried
We're
something
actually
somewhere last year, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty scary. It's going to be pretty scary. Tomorrow we're going to be playing it live.
Okay.
We're putting everything together. So, yeah, tomorrow I'll probably have Black Plague and I'll be out for the next couple of weeks. So,
Well,
Let's hope not.
I certainly hope you do not get the
Not.
plague.
No,
yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
But I think talking about games, Labrina, it sounds like you really have a passion for it, and that links to I'd say the professional topic we wanted to discuss today, which is PlayFab. And
Yes.
in all honesty, I don't know anything about PlayFab, so I'm super excited
Oh,
to learn what you have to share with us.
I love to play games now. Let's go. I'm waiting.
yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Well, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about PlayFab. So, um, I come from kind of the enterprise development world,
Mhm.
but I started getting into gaming, and my husband is kind of an amateurist game developer
Cool.
and big time gamer. It's sort of like one of the things that we like to do. So it's been super exciting to have had the opportunity to work with PlayFab more. So if you're not familiar, so if you think about gaming, if you're a game developer, there's a lot that goes into building a game. And not just all the cool graphics and great storylines, a great story, um, a great game, but there's a lot of kind of back end features that need to happen. So things like multiplayer services. So a game is only as great as being able nowadays to play with all your friends.
Mhm.
So how do you actually create a game that you can play with your friends. It scales right. Like if Mike and I are playing, I'm in the US and you're in Belgium, right? No. Where are
Yes,
you
right.
at?
We
Oh,
both are at the
so
moment,
how
by the way.
can,
Right, Nils?
Yes, very
how can we play?
coincidentally.
What's that?
I said very coincidentally, Mike and I are both in Belgium right now.
Oh, you're both in Belgium. Oh, right. So if I wanted to play a game with you guys, there's a lot that goes into being able to make sure there's not network latency. We can all play and communicate. Then it's kind of the game after the game, right? So games, it's
Mhm.
not just the game itself. There's leaderboards, there's challenges, there's kind of all the social aspects of gaming. There's being able to purchase, assets and things for your inventory. So, and then also sort of more kind of foundational features like authentication and how are you going to
Yeah.
store player data, messaging, all the things that we also think about in as enterprise developers. So there's a lot. And so PlayFab is what's called a backend games as a service platform that actually solves a lot and does a lot of that for you so that you can actually focus on building your game. So can I actually share my screen
Yeah,
or?
sure, you can. There should be a in the center of your view. You should actually see
Oh,
a
it's actually
share
crossed out for
screen
me.
button. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. All
Yeah.
right. So if I just, are you guys seeing it or?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it can take a second.
Okay. Yeah, so I just had a couple of things that I wanted to share. So there's a lot of things. So PlayFab actually provides a complete backend as a service.
Mhm.
There's sort of a lot of different, it says it's share. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yes.
So it's a complete backend for your live game. So we talked about multiplayer. We talked about things like guilds and leaderboards, being able to create live events, being able to do messaging. So if you want to
Mhm.
send notifications to your players or to a segment of players. So let's say that you want to send a message to your top players about some new tournament that you're going to be releasing in the next week. How do you do that? Because the name of the game now is it's not just where you create a game, I play the game, and then I'm done with the game.
Mhm.
As a game designer and a game studio, you have to continue to make the game interesting and keep your players engaged. And so you do this with these kind of live ops features and being able to now, just like how we think about working with enterprise organizations, we talk a lot about data and analytics for enterprise organizations. Well, gaming's doing the same thing. So they're looking at millions and billions of events that are happening, and they're making decisions in real time on they're doing things like A/B testing. So if I'm really planning to release new features, like I can get insights in real time on how different features are being received by my player community and being able to make decisions on that. Getting daily reports on active users, where players are, what levels they're having taking that are taking longer. All those kind of things are really, really, really interesting. And so PlayFab provides sort of all of those things for us. So it's a complete backend for your server. So, and
And
then yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I wanted to ask, what kind of games does PlayFab work with? Is this like just the mobile games on my phone? Is this desktop games like a flight simulator? Or is it all of the above?
All of the above. So PlayFab
Cool.
supports really any kind of game, any platform. So not just a lot of times when people think about PlayFab and they see, oh, it's Microsoft, so it's only
Yeah.
Xbox and Windows. Not at all. So we support mobile games. If you're on PlayStation, whatever platform you want to build your game on or platforms, totally supported by PlayFab, and also any language. So we have a
Hmm.
number of SDKs. So there's sort of three flavors. So we have a number of SDKs for interacting with PlayFab. There's one for Unity, there's one for Unreal Engine, all of the kind of major game engines, and for many languages. So C Sharp, C++, Python, JavaScript, all of those languages. So really any platform, any language, all completely supported by PlayFab.
That's pretty, and there's some pretty big names in between. Like, okay, of course, we have games like Halo and Gears of War because we have them.
Right.
But Doom Eternal, for instance, on all the platforms.
Correct.
Sea of Thieves, if I'm not mistaken, Quake 2. I'm pretty sure Quake is in there. That was re-released. And isn't it so that if you're using it on Xbox, that it is free as a developer, right?
There are some pieces that are free as a developer for Xbox. Some of the features that are available for Xbox are free. Correct.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty
Yeah.
decent. Yeah. Yeah, this.
So
I mean, if you take a look on the capabilities that it has for a game developer, if you don't have to worry about all these things, if that works in a scalable way, this is like really a game changer.
yeah, for
Sorry.
sure, for sure. You can, if you can sort of have all of these pieces, you know, done for you, and then all you have to do is plug them into your game, then now that frees you up to create all the crazy cool graphics that we love, and great sound and great interaction, and not kind of all these kind of foundational sort of things you don't have to worry about. So game developers love this because this then they can really focus on their game. So I'm going to actually go into PlayFab. So the way that you get started working with PlayFab is you actually go to developer.playfab.com. And once you go out there, you can log in, you can create an account for free. Um, and a lot of the initial services for playing around and getting started are absolutely free. So you can get started, start doing things right within PlayFab for free. So the way that PlayFab is set up is that you create what's called a studio, and you can think of studio as sort of like your organization. And so I've created my studio here, Chicks Can Code Studios. Soon to be soon to be releasing a new title near you called Raccoon Invaders. And so I kind of got this idea from our cloud developer advocates, who they kind of have all those raccoon images to go along with a lot of the stuff that they do. So eventually I'll be delivering this game called Raccoon Invaders. And so with your game, and you can support multiple titles. Sometimes titles can be used for representing maybe different environments. So I could have Raccoon Invaders -dev and Raccoon Invaders -prod or something like that. But so this is my title. So I'm going to click just into my title. And you can see right off the bat, I get some reporting. So I've got some reports here on just, how many users. And this is just kind of like out of the box what I get. So I've literally not done much, but just created a PlayFab account and created a title and started making some API calls. So I get a report of kind of how my users, I get a report on API calls, I get logins, other things. On this side, which we'll show in a minute, There's a monitor. So everything that happens within PlayFab is through what are called PlayStream events. So these are events that for every single, you know, I, event that happens for a player, that gets funneled into PlayFab, and then you can imagine then from that point, I can do a lot of really, really cool reporting. PlayFab gives me a little bit of out of the box reporting. All of that data actually is going into Azure Data Explorer. So if you're familiar with Azure Data Explorer, or if you're familiar, so you can see actually, here's my Azure Data Explorer. I can actually do some queries in real time here. Data's cached for 14 days, or I could, do more advanced things. I could create webhooks or that tie into when different events happen. So imagine, when Mike wins, beats the raccoon like top boss, I can fire off some kind of event that happens. So I could use things and hook in things like Azure Functions. So the great thing about PlayFab is that it provides a great platform to hook in a lot of other services with Azure. So a lot of other Azure services, so such as Azure Functions. I'm going to show in a little bit a quick demo of using it with Logic Apps as well. And so you have your complete backend. So all my players are stored here. So, I've got 2 total players. And then also I can store sort of all of my kind of I can store a lot of key value data um, uh, associated with my title or associated with players. So all of that data can be stored right within PlayFab. And the way that you interact with that is using the SDKs, which I'm going to show in just a minute. One of the things that I just wanted to quickly show is so PlayFab actually just released a new feature called user generated content. So user generated content, and you can see I've created a content type called skins here with tags. So user generated content, you can think of that as how now, if you're familiar, if everyone knows Roblox, and the great thing about Roblox is that you can now create your own games. So using their editors, you can create your own games. Minecraft, you can create your own kind of characters and skins and weapons and things like that. So PlayFab has a new feature that allows you that has a whole entire backend that allows you to create your skins, or allows you to create your own content, allows your players to create their own content and store that in the PlayFab backend. So I'm going to show quickly a little bit about how that could work.
So that's a kind of an in-game marketplace, or should I say that?
Correct. So it's actually, that's actually exactly right. So you can create your own sort of in-game marketplace that's driven by players. So now as a player, if I wanted to create my own sort of weapon or avatar or something, and then have other players buy it or use it or vote on it and rate it, I could do that all within the game. And PlayFab gives you a lot of easy SDKs to do that. So on the back end, we're actually using Azure Blob Storage and CDNs. So when I kind of upload my player assets, that's stored in Azure Blob Storage. And then there's a CDN on top of it that makes it available across the geographies. So I'm going to actually show a quick demo of one of my store that I started. Let's see if I can get this in screen. We'll wait for that to kind of reload. But I'm going to show just quickly a quick demo of that. But while that's happening, let's see. Nope, still going. But while that's happening, I think one of the things that I can also show is another project that I was working on, which is showing how to integrate Azure PlayFab with logic apps. So one of the scenarios that we see a lot that happens is you might have a designer who is sort of designing levels based on experience points. Oops, let's drag that up here. So I have here, I've just got a basic Google sheet, and sometimes so the game designer is not necessarily the same as the game developer. So they are gonna be using tools like Google Sheets or Excel or other tools like that to design their game. They're not actually going to be working in
Really enterprise.
Correct. They're not going to be using Unity or anything like that. So I actually created a similar kind of Google Sheet stock that basically shows, okay, for every level, it shows how many experience points the game player needs in order to go to the next level. So a lot of times what will happen is that the game designer might want to tweak this. Let's take, for example, a game designer might actually, they might find through looking at PlayFab, the analytics that, someone like too many players are getting stuck on level 11. So maybe we need to tweak the experience points that are happening, or too many players are getting past it in, first try. And so we need to increase that. So what's happening behind the scenes in the game, if you can sort of look at the sort of end-to-end process, is the game designer and the live ops are sort of constantly monitoring activity in the game, and they're making decisions maybe in real time to change how the game behaves based on real-time analytics. So I think, and they're using sort of a wide array of Azure services on top of it to do that. Okay. So I actually created this logic app, and then I'll just kind of go over what it does. So I've got a logic app. It's running. I've just set it to run sort of every day at a particular time, because maybe we're saying like, hey, you can tweak the character level data, and then we'll pull it once a day. Or obviously there's a lot of triggers that we could use with logic apps, but we're gonna just do it once a day. The second step here is I'm going to just grab my character design or character data from Google, from my Google Sheet, and that was just the one that I showed. And then the next piece here is I'm going to take this data and just get it and map it and just get in the rows. So I've created 2 columns, level and player experience. And I'm going to map that to my player and level experience in my from my Google Doc. And at the end, what I'm actually going to be doing is calling one of the PlayFab APIs, and that's why it works really well, because really all of the features that PlayFab exposes can be interacted with. There is an SDK that you can use with all the different languages that we talked about, but there also is an API. And so we're actually at the end of the day going to call that API to create our kind of title data. So if I go and then, so my second step is I'm going to create kind of the JSON object. So it's stored as just kind of a key value. So I've got my key, which is called character level ramp. And then I've got my value, and then I'm going to store it as that output from what I got from my previous step. And then the last step here is I'm just going to call what API. So I'm going to call my PlayFab API. So PlayFab API is called using the title ID .playfabapi.com. And this is the API, set title data. I've got a secret key, Joe. And then that actually is it. So those are sort of a really nice way to actually interact with PlayFab without actually leveraging other Azure services, which I thought is pretty cool. So it also gives us, PlayFab also gives us the ability to interact with other services, other Azure services as well. And I can have sort of business or like game designers, game developers, all sort of working together to interact with our game. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So if I just run this, we'll just do a quick check here on and just see. Yeah. So it's just starting. Yep, and you can see I got all greens. So that is super good. And so what I'm actually going to do over here is just go to general, and then if I go over to my title settings, I should be able to then see the content. Yeah, so you could see if I click on content, you could see that my character level ramp is there now. And you can see actually it's stored in my JSON, right? So really easy way. And you can see I've got other kind of title data, like key value pairs that I've stored. But this is a like really kind of simple way that I can actually now interact with PlayFab using kind of other Azure services.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So that
Okay.
means developers don't have to worry about a database, and they can store all of that info in PlayFab, and PlayFab will scale with you regardless of how many players you have.
Correct. Yep, absolutely.
So today I learned that cheating now doesn't have to do anymore in hexadecimal. You just need to go and learn Excel. I learned.
I'm not sure if that was actually the takeaway for today, but it's a good it's a good takeaway. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so really good stuff there. And just one other thing that I will just quickly see if we can get my thing going. Okay, great. So now I just wanted to show quickly. So I'm in Unity. I think my thing's I'll make it a little smaller. But I've actually created this kind of if you inventory example. So I imagine I'm allowing developers to create their own sort of player skins. And so this is sort of my list of player skins that I've got. And then once I click on it, you can see, these are skins that you can actually buy from my game, Raccoon Invaders, soon to be coming to you. So I've got a title, I've got a description, got ratings and tags. And so this is actually using our user generated content API and SDK. So I'll just kind of quickly show the code behind for that as well. Let's get the script here. Let me just bring up the script. Every time. Yeah, every time I keep switching, it reloads it. But anyway, so essentially with the way that I did that was using our PlayFab, APIs and using our SDK. So let me see if I can bring up that script. Yeah. So open up Visual Studio right now, just so I can just show you the script quickly.
That's fine. Take your time, please. It's always nice to see when things break in real life with real professionals like you.
I know. It's funny with Unity development. There's a little bit of lag,
Mhm.
and I had everything sort of teed up, as a good demoer, but then the project crashed, and so now I have to restart everything.
It's
So I appreciate everyone's patience in seeing that, and seeing kind of the everything behind the scenes happening. Yeah, it should be coming up in a minute.
it's okay.
All right, so here we go.
There's Visual Studio.
Yeah, there it is. All right, so I'll just show again. I've got sort of these controllers that I'm using to show the skins and all of the data behind the scenes. But actually, what I've done is, and you can see when in my controller, I'm actually logging in. So this is me connecting and logging in to PlayFab. So the way that you work with this within Unity is you would import the PlayFab Unity SDK into your project. And if you go out to the PlayFab site and in our docs, it gives you instructions on how to do that. And so then once I log in, I've created this kind of backend UGC manager. And what that actually does is, so on success, when I log in, it's actually calling, it's creating the search items request. And I basically want to do is bring back any contents where the content type is skin, and I showed that in the UI. And then actually then I'm going to just make my call. So I'm going to call my economy API, search items, here's my requests. And then this is basically all the PlayFab API calls run asynchronously. So basically this is after the request completes, I want to do like populate my marketplace. And then this is basically me getting all of the data. So I call my API. When my API completes, I'm calling the marketplace. And then I'm basically just populating the data from here. And that was all the information you saw on the screen. So I'm getting the item ratings, I'm getting the name, description, thumbnail, URL, and tags, and then just showing that in my UI. So that's actually pretty well what it is. And then again, so it's actually fairly simple. So I didn't actually have to create any of that backend. I didn't have to create a database to store any of this data. I didn't actually have to create blob storage. I didn't create a CDN. I literally just went into Unity, created a project, and started interacting with it and just using the PlayFab PlayFab APIs.
It looks indeed. Yeah, it looks indeed pretty easy to in usage, and then, I mean, this SDK is really simple in utility. Apparently, even I understand it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually I think one of the things that for game developers when they're just getting started, you may not know, you may not have that knowledge of how to build a backend. And so this actually helps you kind of just but you do know how to work within Unity. You are familiar with C#. And so just importing this and calling the methods on these different APIs is actually pretty simple. And then, yeah, you can go forward. And then, and as I kind of showed in the other demo, is you can interact because it's all API driven. You can interact API, and the backend is Azure Data Explorer. You can actually integrate with a lot of other Azure services.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
And PlayFab itself, is that an Azure service that I would see in the Azure portal, or is that only through that interface that you just showed us?
It's a great question. So that for right now, it is through the Azure portal, or through the developer.playfab.com is where you interact with it. But there could be something coming soon where it's a fully fledged product.
Ooh, okay.
Neither
Spoiler
confirmed
alert.
nor denied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty cool.
But this was nice because I didn't know, as I said, I literally didn't know anything about PlayFab except for its name, and this helped clarify things for me. So I want to say thank you, LaBrina, for coming on and sharing this with us. And if not for our guests, just for me, because I learned something today.
Well, good. Well, good. I'm glad. Well, I'm hoping to see, you start working on your next game and using PlayFab, because honestly, this is was super easy for me too, because as I said, I not a game developer by trade, but I sort of started taking a few Unity tutorials last year, and my husband and I started building a couple of games. And he ran into the same problem where he was like, I want to store information and I'm not really sure what should I do. And so so we stumbled upon this, and it was easier for me to teach him this. So yeah, super great.
Yeah, it's really neat. Yeah.
So what you're saying is we have to thank your husband for this episode.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, Sean.
Smile, you're on candid camera. Oh no, wait.
Exactly.
No. Okay. Cool. Cool. No, it's good to see that indeed we take away a lot of the burden of identity management, of storage management, and all these things, because typically, as you say, none of the developers that are doing indie game development, and we can still call them like that. It's really hard to set that up. It costs a lot of money to set that up, to make that scalable. Specifically, if you're going for, you always want to global reach with gaming, and this really is like lowering the bar a lot to get indie developers focus on the content and not on the everything which is lying behind it, which is pretty neat. Yeah, it's an impressive service. I mean, I have to admit.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like we just kind of covered a couple of things, but there is so much that you can cover with PlayFab. So
pretty cool, pretty good. Especially things like chatting and there's even voice support, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So voice support. Yeah. So we speech to text. So again, leveraging our Azure cognitive services. So it's sort of also a good if you want to learn more about Azure, just all up in sort of a fell swoop and how all the how things sort of all hook together. It's actually a good way to do that because we're in the back end underneath the covers. PlayFab's leveraging quite a few Azure services.
So what you're telling us is it's a gateway drug into Azure.
Correct.
Even an API gateway drug into Azure. That was one of the services. That's actually
we're gamifying Azure.
Mike, that was your second dad joke of the
I
day.
know.
Go stand in the corner.
That's because I opened up my database.
Oh. Yeah.
No, but cool.
No,
LaBrina, really, thank you for coming on. And this was amazing. For everybody that joined us, also, thank you for joining us again. And I apologize out of the bottom of my heart for Mike's horrible jokes, but we all have to live with them.
Hey, game on.
Yes, game
there you
on.
go. Yeah.
So
that's what you should do going forward. There should be like a little counter on the side that every time there's a terrible joke from Mike, like there's the counter like goes up.
yes. You want that to be,
you guys.
You want that as a reliable service or not?
The thing is, we'll make it a thing for every dad joke that Mike makes, he has to donate $10 to Girls Who Code.
There you go. There you go.
You know what? It's gonna hurt my wallet, but then again, Girls Who Code, it's worth it, right?
Well, speaking of that, I'm wearing my .NET Run sweatshirt that came out. I think it got announced during Ignite, but that benefits Girls Who Code. So
oh, cool. I didn't know that one. Pretty nice. Pretty decent.
Didn't know that one either, but Mike and I both sport a Abel Wine t-shirt.
Yes.
And that also benefited Girls Who Code, I believe.
Yep, indeed. Yeah. So we are sponsors already.
There you go. Perfect.
Pretty decent. Pretty decent. All right, LaBrina, thank you for being an inspiration. Thank you for bringing another unsung hero. And this one, it really was an eye opener for most people, because typically people only see the front end and never see the back end of gaming. So thanks for that. And it's really an unsung hero because it's not talked about enough. So thanks again for joining us, and thanks for bringing us so many laughs, even with my horrible jokes.
Happy. I will sit and listen to your dad jokes all the time. Anytime.
Oh. Okay, tell that to my wife. Okay. All right. Bye all.
All right, thanks.
Bye all.